Guys, I want to ask sort of a big picture question here. I'm going to ask the chat on this one too, because this is going to be important, I think. We could talk about this from a figure standpoint, but also just from a fan standpoint. I think it's going to be really important. James Gunn. James Gunn has recently come out. I know Lael has been talking about this quite a bit, so I'm sure that he's probably going to be tired of talking about it. But it's going to be something that I think is kind of exciting, or at least an interesting area for us to explore, because James Gunn has put out a bunch of things, but I got two different images here. And IGN put these out, but essentially talking about what the first phase, I think it was Gods and Monsters, they called it, that it's going to be films and TV shows. And they announced a bunch of different things. So I want to ask you guys, are you excited for the direction that James Gunn is about to take us as far as the DC universe? And Carlos, I want to start with you actually first. I'm going to jump around a little bit here. Are you excited about this? Because I know you're kind of like a casual DC fan. I mean, I guess it depends on the property. We both love The Dark Knight and everything, but are you excited with what you've seen so far? I mean, what's your general stance on it?
Okay, so look, as with anything new, there's always going to be hesitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little hesitant because, do I agree that they should have reset the DC? I do. But I also did like Henry Cavill. I did like, Gal Gadot, right? I did like their Aquaman and Batman. I did like them. Now, because of that, I'm a little hesitant towards this. But at the same time, if I think I would be panicking more because I didn't like some of the things I read, but I think I'll be panicking more if it wasn't James Gunn. Just because I trust him at this point, what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. So because of that, I'm a little bit at ease. And also I don't want to jump the gun too quickly because when Heath Ledger was originally casted to be the Joker, everyone said it was stupid, and same thing with Joaquin Phoenix, right? So because of that, I want to be a little bit more conservative and say that I'm a little confused as to why they're doing certain things. But at the same time, I trust Gunn and that he's going to do the right things. I'm glad we're finally going to get, a Green Lantern, and that's, it's always funny that DC always showcase a Green Lantern, but there was no Green Lantern movie, in their movie opening, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, so that's what I'll say. Which one is the one that they're actually? There's the one that's actually pretty cool. They're gonna explore Wonder Woman's upbringing and their past and how all the rules came
Isn't that
to be.
Paradise Lost layout?
Is that what it is? Okay,
so
that one actually,
yeah, that's Paradise Lost.
Yeah. So that's the one I'm really excited for. So, yeah,
right. All right. Well, Leia, what do you think, bro? Because I know you're a huge fan of these characters and Gal and the comics and everything like that. So, what do you think about James Gunn direction? Are you just kind of taking a wait and see approach, or what do you think?
I think in a sense you have to, bro. And I know that a lot of people are excited because it's James Gunn. But just because it's a director, just because it's him, and what he's done, with certain IPs, it to me it's like, okay, yeah, he gave us Guardians of the Galaxy. He gave us his interpretation of the Suicide Squad. Uh, when it comes to its box office draw or anything like that, as far as because it was more streaming than anything, it didn't really do well. It didn't make money. It definitely didn't. And if they're looking at that, and if they're talking about films that didn't make money, he has to also include some of his own projects because they didn't. You know what I mean? So when I see this slate, bro, like I said, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just like the wording. We see Superman Legacy, we see The Brave and the Bold, which is choice to go with Damon Wayne. It was an interesting choice nonetheless, but I can see why they did it. At least he said that we're going to get the Bat family. Okay, I get that. But if you're going to actually tell the story of Damon Wayne, like literally, bro, with Ra's al Ghul, Talia, like there's a lot that goes into that storyline that you can't just gloss over and just not tell it the right way, because there's a lot of convictions there, and it has to be a good story. Superman Legacy, bro. Here's the thing. Again, it's another reboot with a character, and from what I'm hearing, they're going to talk. They're looking towards going with a much younger version. I think around 25, the age of 25. For Superman. And again, like it makes sense for a 10-year plan. He wants to develop over a certain amount of time, and he wants to actually see growth within a character. The Authority, an obscure team that a lot of people have no idea about. They do not know. and there was 2 iterations of this team. So my biggest question and my thing is like, I talked about this earlier, and and I brought it up. It was like, with this team, bro, like it's gonna have to be R-rated with the Authority. It's gonna have to be R-rated, bro, because that team gives 0 fucks about what they have to basically do to get the job done to save humanity. There's also references there where it could actually be a blowback, because we know how the community is. We know how people basically complain and talk about how a situation could be too woke. You have 2 characters of the same sex that are in a relationship, and that's going to be something that is going to be talked about. I guarantee you.
In the Authority?
In the Authority. There's 2 characters that are Apollo and another character are in a same-sex relationship. And we know how people are. Like, they'll pick it apart and find reasons not to like it just because. That's another thing. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you have there in these shows, these films are all in the same universe, right? So if you have Superman, because this is an Elseworld, we're talking about his main movie properties. Yeah. You have Superman that is going to be a not G-rated, PG-rated movie, probably PG-13, I don't know, but PG, whatever, because you're going with a much lighter tone when it comes to Superman. And we know that, and even Henry Cavill, this is something that he wanted a much lighter tone for the character. And I get that, you know what I mean? You want something that's going to be lighter. You want to give us that, Superman, the golden age sort of that Superman character, where he was beloved and he is basically there for justice and defending the world. But when you're going for that particular tone, but then you slide him into a mixed bag with the Authority, PG, R-rated, like, you're going to have to tell a story. Continuity is going to be a big thing. How you're going to pull that off is yet to be seen. Swamp Thing, of course, I'm excited about. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, I am definitely excited about, because it's going to be a different tone, a different version of her. Kal-El, you might as well say, got the better off between the 2. She actually had to watch her family die, her people die, so she's a bit more hardened. So that's going to be a story that's going to be told the right me. And like I said, we know they're bringing in stories from Grant Morrison, different writers, and that's going to be incredible. Paradise Lost. I have 0 confidence in that right now. Because of one thing that he said to me, that he not said to me, but what he said in general was, okay, or what they're saying, they're going for like a more of like a Game of Thrones tone. Don't throw that out there. Just go for your own thing. That's been done before. Go for your own thing. But then you're telling a story before Diana. This is before Diana. This is basically not her development. This is before she was even born, which basically is the like the construct of the foundation construct, different, iterate like different factions on Paradise Island that are actually fighting for either, the clan leadership, the how the politics and everything that goes within that. Okay, yes, we get that. But I'm like, if the main statement in the very beginning, Zaslav, his statement was, yes, we wanted to focus on Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, the Trinity. We wanted to focus on them and let those characters be the marquee. Now, I know that what they announcements that he made so far was just mainly for the first portion of his announcements, for that first phase. Is just that first portion. Is there's going to be more to come. Yeah, but not including Wonder Woman. But he said that there's still an open door for Gal Gadot to come in. Okay, yes, we get that, but she's still part of the Trinity, man, and it's still a character that is important. Not just because I love the character, but it's because it's an important character. You start with those because, again, these 3, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, when it was done with the old regime, they didn't get a fair go. Wonder Woman had an incredible first film. Second film was trash. We never got a chance to see a Batman film, a solo Batman film. Man of Steel, first film, it was good to others. Some it wasn't. But again, with that, we didn't get a second film. You know what I mean? So I would focus on establishing them first before you start bringing in obscure characters. A lot of people were like, well, what about the Guardians? He brought that in, was successful. Oh, but see, first there was Iron Man, there was Cap, there was Thor. There was those characters first. They established the foundation first before they decided to bring in, because you wanted to see if that was going to be successful. You have to do those first. Now, look, I know he has a plan and people trust James Gunn. That's fine. My thing is, I am not overly excited, but I'm not unhappy. I'm just right here.
Yeah, I agree.
Every team looks good on paper. Literally, it looks good on paper. It looks great on paper, but I want to see execution. Like literally, that's what I need to see. The Lakers look good on paper, but they're trash right now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, right. I want to see production. I want to see what you can basically do. So if you can pull it off, I look, he's James Gunn. He's been able to do it before. And on top of that, one last thing, and I'll just move on. If you decide that you're going to say that, okay, Gal Gadot, I love her. You're going to let her basically, you're going to say that, the door's open for her. That's cool. You're saying that there's a possibility that we can bring back Ezra Miller, right? You're saying that if this film does well, which, probably because of the word of mouth, it probably will hit $1 billion or close to it. I don't know. But you're saying that he can come back, and you're saying that some things are going to change, some things aren't going to change. But you're not bringing back Henry Cavill?
Right.
That's where, and the thing is, that's where I understand where the fans. Now, I'm not even talking about the Snyderverse. I can care less about the Snyderverse anymore because, again, it was done. People got what they wanted. Moving on from that. But what I'm talking about right now is that you're not bringing back Cavill, but you're saying that other people, that's where it doesn't look good, and that's when they're going to get pushed back.
Right.
There are already people talking about, bro, there's people already out there talking about they're going to review bomb Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's fucked up.
Oh, yeah, it's super fucked up, right?
I don't know.
Well, people review bomb shit all the fucking, it's terrible. I know. They review
I
bomb
will
the Last
agree.
of Us episode. So
I will agree with Leal, though, that I said I agree with them just resetting it because maybe it was confusing. Maybe you want to keep Gal Gadot. Does that mean that means the first movie happened, but the second movie didn't? Like, okay, fine. But when he said like Ezra Miller maybe may be able to come back, or maybe what they're saying is like, we can't go and say Ezra Miller is not going to be back because then no one's going to go watch the fucking movies.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe they're saying that.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they're saying it now, but let's hypothetically assume that it's already after Flash and he's still saying that. That's where the confusion starts happening because it's like, okay, so now they're saying Shazam is part of this story. So we're like, wait. What about the Suicide Squad project? Oh, that's going to be part of it because you made it. Like, the only reason I'm not completely shitting on him was because I had no idea who Guardians of the Galaxy was, and I ended up loving the team. So I'm hoping some magic of that is sprinkled in here, and we'll see, though. But I agree with a lot of your points, too, Leo.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Leo brought out a lot of good points that I was going to bring up, too, because honestly, I'm a little confused with the way that these, that this new phase 1 is being handled. Like, I keep hearing reports on, we're rebooting it, sort of, we're semi-rebooting it, or we're not rebooting it at all, and it's a continuation, but then there's a reboot after. So there's just so many things that, in my opinion, get contradicted in this whole announcement. And, I heard rumors or something that he said that he wants to incorporate TV, movie, and video games into this cohesive story. I heard something about video games, and I just don't, I think he said that he wants, everyone being acted by the same actor. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion rose to me because, I know game production and voice acting takes months of like hard dedication that, you have to basically just focus on that one project, and then, what if these actors want to do other things? I guess when it comes to that, but even just then too, like I agree with Lyle that I would prefer for them to focus on the Trinity first before they start sprouting out to obscure characters. And like you said, Guardians, that's a good argument, but that was introduced in phase 2 after everyone was already set up. You open the door for a little bit, and even then Guardians was like one team. I see maybe like 4 different properties here that I'm not fully aware of. I'm not a big DC fan.
You make a good point.
But I definitely follow DC, but for me to be engaged, I'm not going to watch certain properties or certain movies if I don't really know who they are, if there's no interest that piques me, and with all this confusion surrounding it, me personally, I was really hoping that they had like a solid lineup of, solid, well-known characters that you establish first before sprouting onto, the craziness and the more like developed storylines.
And that was my thing is like, you need to regain. That's just like the average Star Wars fan right now. I'm sorry, Lucasfilm needs to do what they can to regain the confidence. Okay, you can only go as far with Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Because yes, people are riding off of that, but they're talking about cinematically. They need to kind of regain customers. I mean, the us, the fans, they need to regain our confidence. And I think that's what DC, because DC has been in a slump for years. Like they have basically been struggling for years with their properties. And the thing is, for a comic book reader such as myself and other people out there, yes, we know the authority. We know what this team comprises of. We know the authority. But there's a lot of people that don't and have no idea what this team is. And again, it's just going to be one of those situations where unless he tells us a story that really, really, I mean, because continuity is going to be the biggest thing, bro. People want to see that it's a cohesive story being told, and it's your mess. And I know that James Gunn can do it. Now I want people to understand me saying this shit doesn't mean that I'm not excited to see where it's going to go. It's just a simple fact that, again, with DC's track record, I am completely cautious, bro. I am completely cautious because I'm like, yo, like you've told us, yes, this is what we're going to see. We've seen this before, even with other IPs. Yes, we're going to do this. And then the slate suddenly changes. It automatically changes. And it's that and the third. And then when you start removing properties, and then when you're basically saying, yes, WB did Henry Cavill terrible. And this is what he said. The old regime did Henry Cavill bad. Look, look, if he's not going to come back, that's fine. We just got to see it that way. But if you're not going to bring him back, it's just questionable how you did it. That's what looks really, really foul to me in a sense. And on top of that, the next person that comes along and puts that suit on has really big shoes to fill. Not only just because it was Cavill, because you know how vicious these fucking fans are right now, bro. Yeah. They are going to go nuts. And if people are still riding with Henry Cavill, this new dude coming in is not going to have a damn chance, bro. Right now, he's going to have to prove a lot. And I'm just hoping that the story bodes well enough for us to say we'll give him a pass. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I always thought that, and I think I talked to Will about this months ago.
Yeah.
I always thought, that new Batman with Patterson, I always thought that's a really good Batman. And I was like, damn, if they could get like Joaquin Phoenix, that Joker, and that Batman together, that would have been a nice little start. I always thought they were going to expand on that, but now he's saying like Joker is one world and Batman is a new world and this is a different world. And I think that's the problem with DC, man. Like you guys have it, you guys have all the fucking tools to make this successful, but you don't. Just because it's just like staring you in the face sometimes. But then again, like for all we know, like Invincible, right? Like the show, that one's freaking great, right? And maybe this can be the Authority can be something similar because that show hooked you, in 10 minutes or so. So I don't know, man. I just felt like what I don't like about what Gunn has said, and I will criticize this, is the whole Ezra Miller and Gal Gadot, and then having 3-4 different worlds going on at the same time. That is confusing on its own. I just thought it were going to be reset everything and stick with that Batman and build on that world, or stick with the Joker and build on that world. I always thought it was going to be something like that, but that's just me though. So
I am happy though we are getting lanterns. I'm glad we're going to actually see how Jordan.
That's a positive one.
Yeah, I'm definitely and John Stewart, we're going to have both of them. So I'm definitely super excited about that. It's about time that we get them. It's about time that we get, a lantern, and I hope it's a proper lantern story told. Again,
I hope Ryan Reynolds come back.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But the biggest thing that I can, and I give kudos to him on, is the simple fact that he is, and James Gunn, the best thing about James Gunn and the dopest part about James Gunn is that he goes off of source material a lot.
Yeah.
He does. He goes in and is like, yo, I'm using source material. I'm going to give these writers credit. And that's what I commend him on. That's the biggest thing is he says, yo, I'm giving the writers credit. I'm going to go off of this storyline and we're going to just focus on writing a really decent story. So that's what I'm like. All right, cool. I am with you. I want to see it done, but I'm with you on that, bro. I know it's going to be crazy. I can't wait.
And I mean,
Isn't it going to be kind of...
Go ahead, Carlos.
I was going to say, isn't it kind of be weird to have 2 Batman movies going on at the same time?
Elseworld, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing is when you say Elseworld, you have a totally different That's cool. I'm fine with that because you have Elseworld. I'm happy that they're going to do the Batman 2. So
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
there's a
me
lot.
too.
I'm hoping that they do with the Court of Owls. I know a lot of people are actually looking towards that. We don't know how that's going to play out.
But we know it's Elseworld, but I feel like
Yeah.
people, the casual person, won't know. Like, why the fuck are there two Batmans going on? You
Yo,
know what I
my
mean?
aunt
Like,
asked me that, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
see?
people.
My
will-
aunt was
Oh,
like, "Yo,
see.
why is this Twilight guy?"
That said, I still
Mhm.
think people will go see it because it has the name Batman in it. So I think people will go see it and pay for it nonetheless. I will say there's a couple. I mean, honestly, I'm with you guys overall. I guess I'm excited about it just because maybe foolishly I'm trusting James Gunn. I just see his body of work that he's done in the comic book genre so far. Like, you know, the Guardians films I really loved, and the Suicide Squad I thought was great. I thought it was fantastic. I know, Leal, you're 100% right though. It didn't make money. Like it didn't do well, but I will say that the film turned out pretty good, and I think the fans were pretty receptive to it, especially after that first one. I mean, after that
Yeah.
first Suicide Squad, bro. But I will say with Joker, Carlos, I think one of the problems with that is like Bruce Wayne is like a young kid in the Joker, so by the time he would be of age, Joaquin would be old as fuck. Like he would be like it would be like fighting an old man basically. So that's kind of maybe something they've
No.
painted themselves in the corner, but
I get that. Maybe the Flash fucks it all.
Yeah, maybe
up
the
or something.
Flash
I
can
don't
find a
know.
way to make it fix it, but that would have been dope. I mean, they were never going to do that apparently, but I think they were always intended to be solo films. But I think that would have been pretty awesome to have Robert Pattinson and Joaquin face off. I think that would have been pretty cool.
That Joker from the deleted scenes, I'm sorry, man, that was just ass.
No,
I
was
didn't
good,
like that.
Bro. He was good. He just wasn't Joaquin
from the deleted scene.
You know. Oh, I don't think I saw the deleted. No, I think I did.
Yeah, it was the guy
Patterson?
from.
It's the guy from Eternals. Yeah, he was good. I thought it's just the makeup.
Nah, I hated that shit, dude. I was like, this looks.
Well, I mean, you got
horrible,
a high bar when you got Heath Ledger and Joaquin. I mean, that's the bar.
I mean, I wasn't even grading him to that point because I thought Riddler was decent. I just didn't like it at all, dude. I was like, yeah, this is stupid. But hey, maybe he comes back and I look stupid for saying that, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, we'll see.